So which of these is considered the biggest life-changing event? The answer is having a baby.
Right then, we're in the final part of this morning's show. We've got Daily Mirror agony aunt Dr. Miriam Stoppard here to help any of you struggling with a sudden change in your life or your relationship, and with good reason, because so many people try and start the new year with a new them.
Yes, yes.
So it's always like New Year, we're going to make new things happen.
It's a state of flux, yeah. Trying to improve yourself, trying to turn over a new leaf. But those are driven by yourself. I think the much more difficult things to cope with is when change is thrown at you and you're not the driver. You kind of got to deal with things that are coming at you. I think that's a more difficult kind of change to deal with. Though I would have to say, Matthew, I don't think that having to deal with change is necessarily a bad thing.
No, it's just not. It's not necessarily. I think as humans we tend to change is quite threatening, isn't it?
Yes, it is. None of us like change.
Yeah.
We like to be in familiar circumstances, doing familiar things. That makes us feel cosy and secure. But one of the things that I've learned in my life, and I'm sure there's a lot of people who've done the same, is that painful change is the only thing that helps you move on. Comfortable change really doesn't help you develop.
So you do learn from mistakes through pain.
And you learn from pain.
OK.
And I think you grow through pain and you're a better person at the other side.
OK. 0207, just to remind you, 0207 173 5555 is the number if you'd like a word. Time is running on. I can't let this go, though, without saying congratulations on the OBE, by the way.
Oh, thank you. Oh, that's very kind of you.
New Year's honours list.
Yeah.
It's a lovely treat as well.
Well, I'm thrilled, yeah.
Yeah, I bet you are. Anyway, I mentioned that. Hannah Waterman, we're going to talk about in just a moment sudden weight loss. First, though, let's take a call.
We have Laura first, and she's on line 1.
Laura, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. So what's the big change you're having to face up with, Laura?
Basically, my parents announced they were breaking up over the weekend, and my dad has suffered from depression for many years, and I feel as though he's going to struggle through this.
How old are you, Laura?
I'm 24 myself.
OK, and your parents been together a long time?
It's over 30 years, yeah.
And was the announcement of the split, is that news or kind of something you might have been expecting?
Expecting, yes, but it was still a sudden shock, yeah.
It is. It's quite different, Laura, expecting something and then it happening. It does have a much greater effect on you. I think, actually, you are very well equipped to deal with this change. You're 24 years old. You've seen a bit of life. You were thinking that your parents' marriage might have been a bit rocky. I think you've mentioned your dad that needs a bit attention because you're scared that he'll be depressed. Yeah. I think as a loving daughter, you can cope with this change and help your parents cope with the change better if you start to help. Because doing something, being active, being supportive, being encouraging, being there for your dad will really help you to manage the change as well as helping your dad. So I think if you get yourself involved with your parents, express your concern, your love for them, and that you will go on loving each of them equally, even when they're apart, will really just help you to get over this painful transition for yourself. Because I know, your world has changed. You're a different person. You're now a person with divorced parents. And that takes quite a lot of coping with. But involving yourself in their particular concerns and worries and anxieties and unhappiness will really help your own.
OK.
Just out of interest, do you blame one parent more than the other for this?
No, not at all.
That's good.
Well, that's very good.
My mum, definitthink
That's very good.
Because that's going to make Miriam's advice that bit easier to take on board. I think if you took the view that mum was treating dad very unfairly or vice versa, I think it would be much harder.
Yeah.
Thank you for yours, Laura. Briefly, Hannah Waterman, sudden weight loss. Now, she was on this show only a week ago saying it's nonsense to say sudden weight loss triggered the end of her relationship with Ricky Groves.
Probably she's right. If sudden weight loss and being more attractive actually, has a negative effect on a relationship, there's something wrong with it anyway. But I remember, Matthew, when I lost a lot of weight suddenly in my life, and I was married and with kids, and actually I became a different person. I became a different person when I'd lost the weight. I was more outgoing. I was more confident. I, was I was more upfront than I had been before. So losing a lot of weight not only changes your appearance, it can change the sort of person you are, but you've got to work at that.
OK. I just wanted to ask, because it's still bubbling around.
Yeah.
Let's take one more call, please, Kirsty.
Sure, we have Maggie and she's on line 3.
Morning, Maggie.
Good morning.
Good morning.
And what's your big change, Maggie?
Well, I've had a couple of changes in the last year. We moved house, and about 2 months later, my son was diagnosed with anorexia. Consequently, I blame the moving house, feel guilty, and it's making my relationship with my husband just non-existent.
OK, we've only got about a minute, so...
Well, the first thing I can say to you, Maggie, is you must not blame the moving house for your son's anorexia. There's new research that shows that anorexia actually starts to happen in the womb with the way that...
right?
Yes,
Okay.
I just did a documentary for Inside Out for that. And the changes in the brain in the womb make a person more vulnerable to anorexia. So don't blame the moving house. Don't blame your husband. Your son had a tendency to develop this anyway. Forget what the reasons are. Just help your son to cope with the anorexia, because it's not an easy thing to have to cope with. But I don't think laying blame on the fact that you've moved house...
Things you can't do anything about.
No.
Yeah.
Just concentrate on what you can do and support your son.
Sound advice. Now, hear that, Inside Out has a wonderful presenter as well. That's what I've heard.
Exactly.
and that is all we have time for today, other than me to say thank you for introducing me to my wife-to-be, Miriam. It's all her fault. If you didn't get through this morning, accept my apologies, but please dial in quicker next time, or you can pay a trip to our new website, 5.tv/writestuff, where you'll find links to Miriam's homepage and lots of other great stuff too, including the best bits from today's show. It's amazing. And congratulations once again on the honour, Miriam.
Thank you.
Well deserved. And we'll see you here very soon. I've got a massive treat for you tomorrow, as I'm joined by Bradley from EastEnders. That's actor Charlie Clements, of course. And we'll be finding out if you should always tell an ex the truth when you dump them. Trish is up next. Thanks for watching today. Bye for now.